Here. Hello folks, just setting up a couple other little things. All right, so we are live on YouTube and also the website looks like, and hoping to go live on Facebook as well, although it seems like it's not getting the right information from this, so oh, maybe it is. Okay, looks like I am live. All right. Okay, all right, folks. So it's been a couple weeks. I didn't get on last week, but I'm back today and talking about a few things that we've released recently. We had the Freddie Freeloader classic tune from a classic album, and based on a blues progression in B flat. So I hope folks had a good time with that tune. Getting some kind of weird tones from my I'm going through a little plug-in here, just because I just played and all my stuff was packed away, so I thought, well, I'll just try a little bit of a plug-in. This is this Fender deluxe plug-in by UAD. Let's try some presets on this. See what's on here. Chicago Clean. Whoa. An interesting thing about some of these emulators and stuff is they kind of keep all the things from amps that I don't like. You know, it's just kind of weird, but let's try that one. So a couple of things that I have in mind for next week, and this is something that I've been working towards actually for a long time, but I got a little extra push from one of our members on the website suggesting I do more playing along with backing tracks on the Sunday Live. So totally agree, and I think I'm there, really. I think I'm there as far as my setup. I think I can do all that live. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about this latest tune. Freddie Freeloader. So got a blues in B flat, and it's fun on this tune to think about how these triads interact with the bass note on that. So you've got G minor. I think I mentioned this in the lesson, but G minor and F minor triads. So you may have heard me talk about this, or maybe other folks too on the internet. The idea of triad pairs. There's some really interesting things that you can kind of get into that with that as well, with what are called hexatonic scales and stuff. So if you combine two triads, let's say G minor and F minor, you just kind of compile the two and play them, together in succession. We end up with 6 notes, of course, because we have 2 triads that are sitting a whole step apart. But thinking about this whole album, Kind of Blue, we have some concepts that we can draw from that album Um, you have a lot of these triads that are whole steps apart. You know, if we think of the, and then we have these two triads, the G major and the F major, right? So that comes in different tunes. That whole idea of triad pairs and moving whole steps apart. Also, thinking about modal music and sort of a modal approach to how we might improvise. So it's a really nice album, bunch of great tunes, and tunes are definitely kind of, I would say, must know tunes. So we'll be, of course, gaining more of those as the channel grows and progresses. My learn tunes list, check it out. We've got quite a few tunes. I think I need to clean out some of the things, but we're compiling a pretty good list. I'm really trying hard to get a tune out a week. This past week was a little bit of a struggle. I was a little under the weather this week. It kind of knocked me out, but feeling a bit better. Hopefully full force this week. But not 100% happy with how the drums turned out. So I just kind of mustered all I had on Friday. I was totally starting from scratch. I wrote out the notation. I wrote out did the drum track and the bass track, and drums are kind of my weakness because I don't play drums, so I have to program them. So anyhow, maybe at some point I'll get someone playing some drums, a real person playing drums. All right, well, I'm gonna do a little playing. Drop in, say hello. I know this is kind of last minute. Apologize. That is another thing that I hope to improve here, is just kind of the planning. The weekends are up in the air. Had quite a few gigs the last 2 weeks, and typically I don't play live a whole lot, so just mixing all that in has been a little tough. And then of course family events and stuff like that. So hope you all are doing well. Do a little jam in here. right, so yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this this little plugin, but it's pretty cool. I always felt like there was like this little overtone distortion thing going on with it. I've got it on the default setting. Oh, excuse me, y'all. So got it kind of on the default here. Sounds pretty cool. So impulse responses. Anybody use impulse responses out there in YouTube world? Impulse responses are impulse responses. Yeah, I believe that's what they're called. IR for short. They kind of emulate the sound of amps and speakers. I would say the impulse response mostly refers to the speaker, probably, and the cabinet. Correct me if I'm wrong. But one thing I really like about the Strymon Iridium is that it kind of doesn't have any of those noise kind of features. So things that I would say are kind of unwanted from amps, just hiss and noise. I don't see, you know, how why you would need to put that into a plugin, but I don't know. So hear what you guys think. Guess Hue, mics in even rooms. Yeah, and that's awesome point, because that Strymon actually has a little bit of a room knob that you can turn up, and it's like it's kind of like a very light reverb sort of thing, like kind of gives the impression of being in a room. But yeah, mics matter, and that's one kind of cool thing about these little emulators, like this one I'm looking at now, that I'm playing through. Like they have this emulation of a it looks like a Royer 121. So let me and it's got it blended with a SM57. Let's see if I can play for you just and it allows you to mute the ones individually. That one was picking up a lot of noise. Oh, I kind of like this better. So that's the Royer 121 little emulation that they have. Let me play a few notes with SM57. This is a very standard instrument mic. I like that. I'll actually, I have to say, I do like that, but it seems like it's picking up a lot of noise. It's got like just feels like it's got a specific like place where it has an impact in the spectrum. This one just feels like it's more balanced over lows and highs. It doesn't feel like it's really peaking at a particular spot to my ear. So that's kind of a cool thing. So I kind of like this. I'm back on the Royer 121, but they have all sorts of different mics and stuff that you can play around with. And the visuals are pretty cool. So if you're interested in that, I'm not trying to sell that to anybody or endorsing it or anything, but that's a UAD Fender Deluxe amplifier. But I'm typically going through my own amps, my Quilter amps and Mesa cabs. So thanks, folks, for joining me today, and thanks, guests, for hanging out. Things coming up this week. Well, like I said, I'm planning to work in backing tracks into our next live stream, and I do plan to be on next week, and it was maybe around the same time, 2:30, and I'll try to get that out a little bit earlier so you can have some advanced warning on that. You have to say I kind of like this sound. So a lot of rock folks will use these Royers with the SM57 and blend the two together. Right now I'm just kind of opting for that Royer. Back to our tune of the week. So it's a really nice study if you kind of get into the notes and the chords that are used in the arrangement. So what we're kind of doing, in a sense, is taking the horn parts and placing them onto the guitar, right? So if we're playing, this is kind of our trumpet, alto, tenor kind of thing, right? Going and doing those little triads. So knowing those first inversion, I think they're all first inversion, I believe. And the C minor, I placed it right here, but you could play these exact shapes up here on those same strings. And then we get into this little transitional chord that moves up to the 5 chord and to the 4 chord. And this particular voicing is a first inversion of G7, or sorry, excuse me, G diminished triad. Okay. And you put that over E flat and you get E flat 7. Right, so that relationship between the bass line and the horn parts, interesting interplay. I think fun to I think analyze or just play. I mean, obviously the tune just kind of works, but fun to take a look at those individual triads and how they're kind of moving around. And then the piano, I believe it's Wynton Kelly on this particular track, is playing these really nice, tasteful lines, kind of between these little hits and things. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any additional questions or comments or anything relating to the live stream guitar thing. I'll mention that I'm working real hard at this website, fretprints.com, where we have a small community so far of folks who are learning and growing, and got sound slice exercises and live streams, as well as some videos, and it's a real good moment to get in because I can get to know folks pretty closely, and I've had some really good suggestions already that I'm working towards implementing, including making some shorter videos. So a lot of folks are just really busy with their jobs and things, and so giving a little 10-minute video on some things. I think really gonna the community will just help shape what direction I go. So yeah, Guess, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Never seen your channel before. When do you stream usually? So yeah, I stream on Sundays, and I just started this back up a few months back, and it's varying, but I am trying to settle in on a particular time. I'm actually thinking the 2:30 spot might be good, but I have to keep it a little bit flexible on Sundays. But I am planning to give a little more of a head start on planning my Sunday live stream, but generally anywhere between 11 and 3 on Sundays. So that's kind of the usual pattern. And then for my members, we have two more live streams that are a little more in-depth kind of things, a little more intensive and with workshop options. So those are on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesdays at 12 and Saturdays at 11 a.m. So thanks for dropping in. Definitely appreciate your hanging out here. In the past, I was doing some mobile live streams, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings about how that worked, because get a lot of folks who were requesting different things that are just kind of far from what I do here on the channel. So I'm not sure the algorithm is really reaching the audience that may be interested in like fusion guitar or jazz guitar or improvisation. And so I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go on the vertical live stream, but we'll see. Plus today I was a little short on time. This morning we played on it was kind of a mix of different type of music, and but we have this kind of featured musician's choice tune that we start off, and so it's pretty cool. So I suggested Sugar, and so we played that. Really great tune, classic tune, and I did do a lesson video on that a few weeks back. So if you'd like to check that out, it's got the kind of cool intro going. And it's a nice bluesy tune. Not exactly a blues, I would say, but Stanley Turrentine. So fun to improvise on. But I thought it was a good fit for the morning and the tune. I was really happy how everybody played. I felt it was really inspirational to play with these guys this morning. So it was cool. I was doing kind of a subbing sort of thing. So it was really nice. I thought it worked out well. What styles of jazz do you usually play? You said you do a lot of improv. So like bebop or lighter stuff. So yeah, improv is quite, I do quite a range, you know, like including this morning. One tune was just really kind of bluesy. I try to do, as far as improv, I try to fit, you know, the style of what we're working with um, at the time, you know. So like on one particular tune, you know, I'm doing like a, you know, doing little things like that, you know. You know, little you know, kind of simple stuff, I guess you could say. But you know, I try to do what's effective for the moment and what feels appropriate for the tune. So yeah, I would say quite a variety. But yeah, bebop, maybe on the one extreme. So yeah, you know, I try to work with, it's almost like different languages or dialects. You know, like um, you know, if you're playing Blues for Alice or Confirmation, you know, might use a little bit more of the bebop side sort of language. Um, but yeah, everything blues. Um, I have done some you know, like straight ahead rock kind of things, but I always feel like I'm not quite exactly the one. Excuse me. The one to meet that demand, but um, I have learned some rock guitar solos. You know, kind of just learn the parts. There's certain rock solos I would say where you have to kind of play, you know, not an improvised part where you have to play like the actual recorded part. Others that you might play certain lines that are particularly memorable, and then you can kind of improvise in between um, and mix it up. But generally, I like to you know, fully improvise on tunes. But yeah, anything from standards, bebop, blues, Latin, Latin tunes. All right, thanks, folks, for joining me today. Hope you had a good time. I may hang out for another about 15 minutes. We'll see how this goes. It's a little quiet today, and I apologize. I think that's probably on me. Just getting this live stream up and running last minute. But thanks for the hang. Appreciate it. I'm really hoping to get to know folks who watch the channel regularly. You know, maybe some of the regular videos. Get to know folks better. Future plans. So, been doing a lot of melody videos because I find that that's just what folks tend to want. I don't know if that's the algorithm, but over time I've found that that seems like to be a good type of content to put out. So I think I've got a fairly decent format where I, play and then just do my brief introduction and then do another playthrough with the tablature and all that running along, and then my step by step. Sometimes I'm including some basic chords that folks can play and use in an outro. So I think that format kind of works pretty well, and I'm working towards getting my production quicker, which I definitely have been able to do. And so thinking about what I want to do next to add into the mix is to do a midweek improvisation. But it's such a challenging thing to nail down improvisation and say, do this etude or use this concept or and I think part of it I find is that there's so many different ways to approach playing, and so what I'm recommending and what I find for my own growth on the instrument and in the genre is to develop language, like I mentioned earlier, to develop the ability to essentially communicate on the instrument effectively, and maybe have different manners of speaking or different types of dialects and things that you can use, tune by tune, but also within a tune to maybe use a minor blues scale for a little bit, and then maybe use arpeggios for a bit, and to say different things and express what we're trying to express, and feeling equipped in the moment. So one thing especially about playing let's say a gig somewhere or a jam session is things just don't always go as expected, and just rolling with it, and collectively getting 3 or 4 people getting from one end to the next of a tune. It's a fun adventure sometimes, and so anyway, trying to get things dialed in, and how do you teach improv? That's a whole challenge in and of itself. It's an interesting thing. A couple of weeks ago, I played, or no, it was just a week ago. I played with this regular big band that I've been playing with for quite a long time, and so that one we've since we've played a bunch, a lot of the tunes come up. Sometimes it's a pretty big catalog, so some different tunes might be mixed in, but there you've got your specific part, because having such a big band that's arranged so that things are really coordinated, and you're working really rhythmically to make these hits happen, and we get these dynamic ranges working, and it all kind of feels like a well-oiled machine, when it's really really going, and then on the other extreme, something that like I did this morning, where it's like you have a framework of a tune, and folks are kind of familiar with the tune or getting familiar or whatever, and you're playing and trying to fill that space and communicate with one another. It's kind of a little bit of a different thing, but in that big band setting, do you do have solos and things where you stretch out, but like for example, there's this one tune. I think it's "Things Ain't What They Used to Be." In the arrangement, I know when I have this solo, I know that the horns are gonna come in, in a couple beats, and maybe I'll, taper my phrase as that is approaching, and then, managing the space. But, when it's not, prearranged, of course I'm improvising the notes, but you don't know, like when, because you're interacting, and so it's just a nice listening environment to do feedback between different folks, and it's a nice feeling. The bass player today really had this really cool like octave pedal going, and this reverb on his solo on that tune "Sugar," and that was really really cool. It was a nice amount of it too. I felt it was really added something. So when folks sit down, do you? I'm just curious. Do you try to just play anything at times? I know folks who I check out. Some folks who have studied with me and stuff. And I know, like, they check out other methods and stuff. It seems like that you're going for like exercises and things, but I wonder if folks do you ever just pick up the guitar, and maybe we all do this, and just like kind of try something like, what does this sound like against that, or what does this sound like against that? You can pick a note and try to harmonize it, even just pick a single tone and say, oh, what can I put under that? It doesn't even have to be in a particular key, just trying different things out. What is the impression of that? So you can do that with chords, do that with tones. And then recognizing some patterns that we get habituated to working with, and just maybe breaking out of that in different ways, maybe trying different notes, different combinations of notes. And there's fine. Do your lines tend to follow a certain harmony a lot, or a certain flow of the progression? And see, can you break out of that? That's sort of a thing I would recommend trying to do, just to keep things fresh. One thing I do try to do is, and it takes some time, I think. I don't know where folks are on individual levels, but just try to make a little bit of statements. So if you're on iReal Pro or playing a gig or playing a jam session, to try to make little phrases and statements, and then give some space and play a little bit more. And so I'm finding oftentimes I'm hopefully not being too sparse, but I like to play real simple almost, just kind of like taking something, making it elegant, and then maybe developing a little bit of intensity later in the solo, build things up a little bit. So Guess, again, awesome. Thanks for participating. Really appreciate it. Says, I feel like oral skills help when trying to come up with new sounds. That said, my oral skills are terrible. Okay. Well, do some interval training. There's a lot of programs out there. Earmaster, Mac Gamut. I don't know if that's still around. I remember using that quite a bit in when I did my master's in jazz studies. And what else? I think there are even some things online where you can just kind of just do these tests on interval testing, your ear, and just get comfortable with intervals. That would be your first step, and getting comfortable with major and minor triads, and then augmented triads and diminished triads. Start small and get comfortable with progressions. Knowing like kind of getting in a key and sort of hearing where the 4 is, where the 5 is, 1, and the 6, or whatever it happens to be. That saves me a whole ton. Although sometimes you get thrown into something, and it's keys can change suddenly, get unexpected key changes sometimes from singers and things, and that can happen. That's okay. Just kind of roll with it. But yeah, so getting comfortable with those 3 elements, and possibly rhythm exercises as well. But intervals just between 2 notes, and identifying triads, the 4 triad types, and maybe adding the suspended in there, and start with some simple progressions, 1, 4, and 5. Try to transcribe recordings. I learned a ton from, and I still do, from transcribing recordings. Every time I do one of these videos, I'm going direct to the source and transcribing what somebody's playing, and listening for chord voicings and things. So take a little at a time and you'll get it. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to wrap up for today. Thanks for joining me. Not sure whether to pronounce your name Jess or Guess, but that's on me. Sorry about that. But thanks so much for participating. Really appreciate it. Everybody who may be watching, rewatching, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, sorry for the late notice. I just put this up like half hour before I started. So I'm gonna work towards getting a better heads up on my plans. But yeah, thanks for checking this out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're almost at 12,000 subscribers, which is awesome. I think it was something like 25 away. So be a part of that. Get notifications. And don't miss future videos. Putting out a video each week. And let's see what else. Check out our website, fretprince.com. We are working towards serving the guitar community, helping folks learn improvisation or just develop, further develop your improvisation skills. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.